one of the last shows is me and him and DeStefano and my wife Rachel. She booked the particular shows in Montana, and we're on this ranch and everything. And Rachel and I were upstairs, and she said, "I may go out on the deck, just sit out for a little while." I said, "Hang on a second." And I looked out there, and it was Brett. It was in the afternoon. He had his shirt off. He's talking to his wife on the phone. He's just putting his hair back like that. And I said, "No, I don't think we need. Let's go out front. Let's walk out front."
I wonder what AOC's handshake is like.
Probably firm.
Probably firm.
It's probably very firm.
I'd say
like
firm
overly
and angry. It's an angry hand. Just gets like that.
Just pissed all the time. Just dark pissed.
She's so. There's nobody better at that than Jason, though, because he's so genuine and authentic. When he speaks about something, it's so unscripted and so real that people get touched by it. Like, it's not like a planned thing. And so when he talked about Brett before he did The Truth, you could have heard a pin drop. I'll never forget that, just because it was, I knew that Brett was listening.
The Try That in a Small Town podcast begins now.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Try That in a Small Town podcast, coming to you from the Patriot Mobile Studios, powered by eSpaces. We love eSpaces.com.
I can't muster that voice up tonight.
You can do it. You just got to get warmed up.
It's a little dark outside.
Yeah, it is. We got Thrash, Kalo, TK. I'm Kurt. Thanks for joining us. Man, it's been a heavy couple weeks, dudes, and don't want to start the podcast necessarily on a down note, but I don't know how else to do it. Obviously, we're a couple weeks removed from Charlie Kirk and his assassination, which has been a completely heavy moment. Just the actual event, the response to it. And then just a few days ago, all of our good friend Brett James died in a plane crash in North Carolina, which I don't know where you guys were. We were on the road when we got the news, and it was disbelief at first. Yeah. And actually, it might still be disbelief for me. I don't know.
It really is. It's like still processing. I hadn't even processed it yet.
Yeah. And sometimes as men, and I know I do this, especially we're out on the road. I don't know why we're not in Nashville, so I kind of just put it aside. I know I haven't processed it, and all I can think about is is kids. Yeah. And it just breaks my heart, and sometimes I just kind of push it away. But where were you guys when you found out?
Y'all were you guys were on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for me, I know exactly where I was. I was in baby Lucy's room. I was feeding her, getting her down, and all I can do in there, is I have my phone, because it's really bright in a super dark room. So I've had my phone way down in this recliner, and I'm like this, so she doesn't see me. I'm just looking, and I start getting a couple texts, and then Rachel, my wife, had said, "Hey, have you heard anything about Brett?" And I'm like, "It's one. If you're used to texting with two, and I'm saying, no, what's going on?" And then started. Getting reports, people saying, "Oh, we're not really sure, but there's a single engine plane, that took off from Thune Airport." And the Thune Airport's what got me a little bit, even though they weren't releasing his name. And at the time, I didn't know that they released the tail number and they put it to where it was Brett's plane. But I know that's where he keeps his plane. I know that's where he takes off, because I've landed there with him one time. We'll talk about that later. But that's when I really thought, oh crap, it's it could be him. And so you're texting everybody and I even text Brett, I said, "Hey dude, please tell me you're okay." Then Neil calls me, and said, "Had you heard?" And then we talked, and he knew more than I did at the time.
I didn't know anything until Tully called me, because they found out there before I knew. And Tully called me, and it was just like, and it was real quick, because I could tell y'all were like busy, and but you called.
It was we were getting ready for the show. It's getting pretty close.
Yeah,
such a surreal. Brett was such a great. He was. I remember. It's hard to even talk about it, but we started to know him back in the day when we were doing a lot of sessions, like demos, and he was always around on a song or his song. And this is years ago, and we started producing a lot, and we were producing Thompson Square, and he was writing a lot then with those guys, and he was just a fabric of like everything we were doing. He seemed to be involved in it some way, whether it's a song we're doing with Aldean or a song we're writing with him or something we're producing that he had a song on, and it's just a great, always a supporter of. He used to come to the showcases, and we were doing with Aldean. You know, this is back to the like late '90s. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of a really surreal moment, and he's just such a supporter of the community, like a legit. I think a lot of people. I think in Nashville we like to say that it's a supportive community, and for the most part it can be. Not always, but I can say with 100% that Brett pulled for everybody.
Yeah.
I do know that. Like I remember
it hit harder for us because he's like, you know how songwriters in Nashville have generations. We have this generation, and he was part of our generation. You know, we all came up and did our stuff all together.
Yep.
Went to the award shows together.
Yeah, he's in our class.
Yeah, it was our class. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and it really hit hard. No, just for that fact alone. I mean. When you lose somebody in your community like that you look up to, he was an inspiration to so many writers, young writers that came in. His publishing companies, the writers that he signed over there. He was very successful at that. And man, it was tough hearing that news. It was really, really
makes
tough.
You think of all the things. I was thinking about it today. Like we get so used to seeing everybody around and working with everybody. We would always, every year, this time of year, be like, hey, we're going skiing this year. This is the year we're going to go, because we always talk about going skiing. I'm like, we got to go skiing together. He's like, it's happening this year. And we make the plan, and it wouldn't happen. And then this happens, and you're like, it instantly made me think about you guys and everybody, and just take for granted how we just assume we're always going to be around.
I know. And
how we get to prepare for when someone is going to leave us, and we don't get to prepare.
It reminds me, he had that thing on his Instagram that started making the rounds, and I think I reposted it too, but it was just, he wrote out a note, now's a good time to tell the people that you love them. I'm not sure what it was or when he did that, but God, did that hit after seeing that.
Yeah.
And we, Justin Weaver, who's a good friend of Aldean's, he wrote over there at Corn Man for Brett, and obviously hit him very hard. We know Lydia Vaughn very well, who writes over there. Both of them say Brett was such, and to get to Tully's point, same thing, such a champion to the younger people and the new generation, because he took pride in what this generation did and wanted the next to be that. Those guys, like I know Justin and Lydia, they're obviously really taking it hard as well.
Yeah. And Nate.
Nate.
And and Cornelius, that's where Cornman came from. That's his last name, and which is interesting. And whenever I did write with Brett over the last few months or a little bit, the last time I wrote with him, I think, was with one of his new writers, Chris August, who's a great writer, talent. Comes from contemporary Christian world, but a really cool guy. And then Brett came over there, which is in Franklin. It's a long way away from his publishing company. Like if it's me, I would want to write at my publishing company, have all my stuff there. And I said, hey, it's cool. You came all the way out here to do that. And he goes, I'm not too far away. And he goes, plus the fact, he goes, everybody at my publishing company loves it when I'm not there, So he goes, because he's loud and rocking and everything, they can get a little bit more done. But he just has had a lot of humility and amazing. And then too, I don't know if we, just for the listeners out there, like we all know, all of Nashville knows Brett James, and everybody would know his songs. But I mean, he's had over 500 songs recorded, and some of your favorites. He's won a Grammy. He's had. Jesus Take the Wheel was a huge song. He's had, The Truth, which we can talk about with Aldean, which is a huge thing. And Aldean even made a comment about, and so did Carrie. About Brett and how much they loved him, his work and everything. So he's just done so many things and so many hits. It's just a huge loss music-wise, much less the way that everybody loved him, and we miss him here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It was really fun to. I was telling Neil this today. Kurt, the last time I saw Brett, a month and a half, a couple months ago. I can't remember, before the tour started. I think it was right before the tour started. We were down at BMG writing, and Neil was there and David Lee Murphy, and we walk out to get coffee, and out walks Brett. He was writing with some new artist. He walks out of the room, and we're all talking. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at Brett and Neil and David Lee Murphy all within 2 feet, and I'm like, holy crap, like 3 of the most badass singers this town's ever had. Yeah. Right here. I mean, this might explode. We might explode. And I remember just Brett always, he loved working. Every time he wrote with him, he would grind. We would work, and it's so much fun. I caught myself after it happened, laying on the bus in my bunk after the show, going through all the songs we wrote and listening to him sing. You know, and it's the same thing when Neil sings. It's the same thing when David Lee Murphy sings and Brett sang. It was like, just make you feel every word of that song. And the reason why those artists connect with these songs is guys like Brett and Neil and David Lee. Seriously, it's like, you know, it's
he
just
was one of those
different.
guys when I was, because I've actually spent more time with Brett away from the row.
Right.
Our kids went to school together. We'd see each other at football games. Or we did a round. We do writers' round together. I've done a bunch of writers' rounds with him. Or playing golf. And it wasn't really music related other than the writers' rounds that we did. But he's like one of the small handful of singers that when we were doing a round and he'd start singing and I just, you know, just kind of like, and then I'd close my eyes. When he would do like Knowing You that Kenny cut and The Truth that Aldean cut.
Yeah, and Kelly Clarkson song.
Yeah.
Yeah, somehow he'd sing those Czech songs and still make them
know.
sound cool when he did it.
They're great. Yeah,
he was the epitome of badass. He really
Brett was badass.
Yeah.
Brett was cool. He was a cool dude, and just it's such a gutting feeling, and all you can do is know that God's got a plan, and it's hard to understand that plan. Mm-hmm. It makes no sense sometimes, and it certainly doesn't make sense this time or any time for that matter when you're not prepared for something. But it's such it's weird not having him in town, knowing that he's not in town.
Yeah,
I felt this way when Michael Rhodes, the great bass player, passed away 3-4 years ago, and a staple of the musician industry in this town, and set the bar. I always said Michael Rhodes was probably whatever town he was in, he was the best in that town, no matter who, you know. And same thing when he passed away, just feels weird him not being in town. It feels weird Brett not being in town, because Brett was just everywhere. Mm-hmm. You could you're writing with him, and the next thing you know, you see him the next day, he's somewhere else. You know, so yeah. It's a great loss. Also a great celebration of how many people he touched. You can see all the tributes and how he did it right. You know. So.
Yeah, he didn't just kind of sneak into a room. Like when he entered the room, you knew he was in there. Mm-hmm. Yep. Like I can come in and you got a ball cap on and nobody really notices. He comes in, it's like Tarzan walking in slow motion. His beautiful hair is blowing in the wind, you know. And we'd go on a show, like one of the last shows is me and him and DeStefano and my wife Rachel. She booked the particular shows in Montana, and we're on this ranch and everything, and Rachel and I were upstairs and we're fixing to go down. She goes, I think I'm going to go out there on the deck. And I'd already been downstairs to see DeStefano was down there working out. He's got all jacked up and he's down there pretty much his underwear, no shirt. And she goes, I'm going to go get a coffee. I said, I get it. I'll get the coffee. And then, so I brought up the coffee, and then she says, I may go out on the deck, you know, just sit out for a little while. I said, hang on a second. And I looked out there, and it was Brett. It was in the afternoon. He had his shirt off. He's talking to his wife on the phone. It's just putting his hair back like that. And I said, no, I don't think we need. Let's go out front. Let's walk out front. But she always tease her. You know, she would say if there was a show, she goes, well, I might need to advance the show and get up there and make sure the guys are okay. Like if there's a show I wasn't on, I said, well, who's on the show? I said, well, I think maybe DeStefano, maybe Tim Nichols, and possibly Brett. No, Brett, no. You don't need to go up there and advance the show. But anyway, just a really good looking guy, but just such a good heart. It always was a lot of fun just on shows, and that's the main time I spent. I didn't write tons with Brett. I mainly saw him at shows and everything, and he had he had fun and everybody, and I love bringing him, somewhere that they hadn't seen him or heard him, because it's kind of like bringing Neil. It's like show and tell. You're saying, hey, these are my buddies, and they're really cool and they're great, and it makes you look a lot better. So,
yeah, certainly going to miss that guy around town, and just in general, just
It always hurts when you lose one of your own.
Yeah.
And that's when you realize, you're like, guys, you can take it for granted.
Yeah.
It's real easy to do.
It's
until it
way
hits
too
home,
easy to do.
it's a little wake up call, but
Yeah, we did the show that night, and like we're still talking, we're in disbelief, we're going through talking about it, then we have to go on and play the show, which is a weird feeling. But for some reason, for the first half of the show, it's like, okay, we're doing good. This is a fun show. We're doing it. We get to the truth. Oh. Aldean stops and says some really great words, and we bust into the truth. And I know you felt this way too. And all of a sudden, it was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this.
Played that one through.
That'd be hard to get through.
It was really hard to get through, and the rest of the show was hard to get through. Because the lights come up. Everybody's got their phones now, and in our age, people used to put up lighters, but now they do the phones. Yeah. Dude, the phones were shining.
It was,
and I know we all had a hard time getting through it.
It was tough to get through. It was tears in the eyeballs, man. It was like seeing all those lights up and knowing Brett was hearing that one.
And did you guys talk to Aldean after? Did he say anything? Because he's singing that, and I know you guys are singing background stuff. Did he talk about how difficult that was to sing that song that night, or did y'all just not talk about it?
The thing about this is we were talking without talking. That's how long we've been together. Yeah. He shot me a look after we finished the song, and just one of his looks, just like that. That's all that needed to be said. It was like, it's part of the gift we've and the blessing of being in a band so long, where it's kind of the same thing we approached after Vegas a lot. When something, you just kind of get through it, and you can say a lot without saying anything. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. So that's right after we finished the last note of that, and he just looked, and just that was all that we had to say about it. It was really tough though. It was like, and what's interesting is I played 3 shows, and that was tough. And the second night, I felt like a celebration more than sadness. But the last night, it got me again. The third show,
dude. The third night
got me.
There was. Everybody had their phone.
Yeah, it got me
because I think news had finally gotten around, and people were starting to understand who Brett was.
Yeah,
and I agree. The third night was very moving.
There's nobody better at that than Jason, though, because he's so genuine and authentic. It's like it's the same thing when Charlie got shot and passed, and when he speaks about something, it's so unscripted and so real that people get touched by it. Like, it's not like a planned thing, And so when he talked about Brett before he did the truth, you could have heard a pin drop. I mean, it's just, he's got a way of, like, that moment when he, in those 3 shows doing the truth, I'll never forget that, just because it was, I knew that Brett was listening, He loved that song. I remember after he heard the cut of that song, we were like either writing with him or doing a session. I can't remember. He was like so blown away by the cut of that song, and Jason singing it. I know that it meant a lot to Brett, that song did what it did. So.
Yeah, and I was thinking too. I know he's real close with Chesney, and he's had huge hits with Chesney. They have a great friendship, but When the Sun Goes Down was an epic smash. And then I thought about Kenny today, kind of just looking, because you can't remember how many songs that Brett's been a part of, but we went out last night, and I know the story only because the shows we play with Brett, and he tells the story about him and Kenny, and they wrote that song. It came, Brett was just fooling around with the melody. Kennedy slept in a little bit. I guess they were at an island or something, somewhere exotic and wonderful. But anyway, so Brett was already up, sipping, drinking coffee, and Kenny had this sliding glass door, and he just stuck his head out the door, and he says, "We went out last night." And then Brett just started working on it, and that came to be. And so you get, that Chesney, every night he performs that, just like you guys and Aldean performing The Truth. He's going to think about that every single time, and not just the song, but what they were doing and what a good time they had. And anyway,
I used to sit next to him in these rounds, and he would go into When the Sun Goes Down. And he wrote it by himself.
Dude, and do you know the rest of the story? Like, I think he wrote it on the way to the session.
Yeah, and that's what I would always go, you son of a...
Yeah, he didn't have enough songs for the session.
It was the fact that song was so simple, but it was so good.
Yeah,
so good.
And it was so commercial, and it was so Kenny. There was no way in hell it wasn't going to be.
I know,
hit. No way.
Yeah.
You're right.
And for him to do that in that short a period of time, to write that song by himself, it makes you kind of jealous. It's like,
very.
Daggum. That's awesome.
And the ability to not overthink it,
That's
because
right.
there's a genius in that.
That's a fact. And people don't realize that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was totally, because I remember him telling us a story, but I can't remember if it was the second verse or if it was like the majority of it. But whatever it was on the way to the session.
I think he finished it on the way.
He didn't have enough songs, and so he was just like, well, in this car, he basically just made up the words, and
it's
there
like
it was.
Well, it's like Daley Murphy, right? In Dust in the Bottle on the kitchen table that morning before he went to cut the album.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I remember one of my favorite stories about Brett. Kurt, do you remember this? Where the first time we played Fenway, and I think like Miranda was on it with us, and that first show we did at Fenway years and years ago, the first time we did it. Well, Brett was out writing with her, and we're getting ready to go down to get ready to play. And I think Miranda she was either going to play or just finished, but Brett comes out in those black leather pants, looking like, I said, damn, are you playing with us tonight? He's always just so freaking cool. Always cool. Always like, damn, you're cool.
Yep.
He never looked bad.
Ever.
How
did he do?
He looked, it had to take him hours. He used to get up early looking like that.
Carrie had some posts, which was great. Said he'd come in on his motorcycle, of course, with this helmet. And somehow, even after having the helmet on for hours, he'd come up and his hair is still perfect.
It still looked amazing.
Flowing.
Yeah.
It's like,
God. And he might have worked out a little bit, Yeah. So he was the guy at the pool. He didn't leave his shirt on like most other people, So
his swim shirt.
I'm wearing swim shirts.
He was okay without. He was okay without. That'd be tell your wife, said, hey, look at that beautiful sunset over there, Brett. Go. Yeah.
I'm glad we can remember him like this, and remember stories and laugh.
Yeah.
Because he's a legend.
Absolutely.
In the songwriting community.
Oh, for sure.
In Nashville. He's
for sure.
And
he was a force.
And I always talk about this with guys like Mike Delaney and Daley Murphy, and Brett's one of these where he wrote, because there was a time when we were, playing, we were session players playing with Jason and on the road, and we were session players in town, and no one looked at us like we were really writing, because we wrote, but we were always gone on the road. So we never really wrote. People didn't know us in that facet. They just knew us in the chair in the studio. And I remember Brett writing with us really early when he didn't have to. He didn't have to write with us. And David Lee and Delaney did the same thing, writing with us when everyone thought we were just players, But Brett would come in and write and have a great time, and he'd sit there and spend all day writing songs. And it's just, he was a champion for everybody. I just feel like he loved seeing everybody win. I really do. Like I think he's one of the few people I can say that really loved seeing people have success. It was good man.
Yeah, and for some of the people that don't know, I mean, his story, even coming in was interesting because he's a smart guy, and he's he was in medical school, and then he was playing around with songs and everything. Moved to Nashville, he gets a record deal or two, puts out a few things, but nothing really hit. He had some things out that charted and everything, and so he reapplied, to medical school, and but he was still having some success. I think he signed at Terracell Music, which was Mark Bright's company, and I think for a year or something like that. And in the midst of it, he got accepted back to medical school. Things weren't really happening, so he went back. And then when he went back, all of a sudden he started getting some cuts. Ended up, I think he had like 33 cuts during that 1 year or 2 year period. And so he went to the however you go to the school, the top of the medical school, and say, hey, I'm going to have to go back to Nashville, I think. And he said, well, you probably should, but you can't come back again. He said, all right. And so, but anyway, it worked out good for him. So he could have done anything he wanted to do. And but when he got here, and to really all the points that we're talking about, I mean, he's not just your standard issue songwriter, and much like Neil, he's an artist, and the artist writers are different. They write different because it just needs to sound good when they sing it. And sometimes the problem with somebody who sings so good is that all the lines sound good, because sometimes you can't tell, is that a good line, or is it just because you're singing it so dang good, But he was, and I remember Rivers Rutherford said this years ago, and he said, hey, Kalo, there's two types of writers. There's generators and editors. That's the two, and I think there's actually more categories now, but Brett was a generator. Like he would just spit it out. He doesn't have to have you to write a hit song. So you think about, okay, what can I bring to him that he doesn't have? Can I bring this idea? Can I bring this verse? Can I bring, and he would just make it. He would just make it happen, or he'd make it cool and make you sound more talented than you were.
100%. 100%.
But he was a team player.
Oh yeah,
no doubt about it.
But he was. I remember at the little publishing house. He was working with Kit Moore. Kit Moore was living upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
But and you walk in there to write, and it was a cool place. You had all kinds of stuff going on, excitement. Be writing with Justin Weaver when he was in that front room when you walk in, and Brett would come in, pop in, and like, man, this is a great atmosphere to be creative, because he was creative. It wasn't like, it didn't feel like a business. It felt like a place to be creative, and that's what he was. So really gonna miss that guy, but lucky to.
There's a void. There's a void on Music Row right now.
Yeah, it's been a heavy.
He'll be missed.
And then in our guitar player Jack, our brother, his mom passed last week, and then Charlie had got shot before, and it was like, then Brett, and it's like, man, it's just like a.
Yeah, it's been a lot. And speaking of Charlie, we're recording this on Monday. Yesterday was the celebration. Basically, did you guys watch any of that?
Yep.
I watched a lot of it. I couldn't get all of it, but
how incredible was that? And I know if you didn't see it live, you probably saw the clips of Erica and her. Oh my God!
Yeah, and forgiving the shooter, and it's like,
that was that's pretty much what everybody will remember.
Yeah,
from that.
Because on the human scale, even as a Christian, you're thinking, God, that's hardcore to be able to do that quickly. Even the thought of trying to do it, is impressive.
Because
incredible.
She knows that's what Charlie would have wanted.
Yep, I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
Still processing that situation where it's like, it's crazy that shot, and that's just crazy to me. This even happened. Still, it's hard to take that in. I don't know. It's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot, But like Neil was saying earlier, it's like like with Charlie. I mean, things have really exploded. I mean, for just the kingdom of God and all the young people that he was, talking to on those college campuses, and even me, I listened to some of the stuff, but not as much as I've listened to since he's passed.
Right.
I mean, I've watched not every video, because you can't. There's so many of them, but I'm just watching them like just over and over again, and just watching how he debated and respected the other side. Super smart guy. Didn't go to college, but he was well read, and he was well studied and everything, and his impact now is it's already exploding.
Yeah.
So it's just unbelievable. the plan that God has when some evil things happen.
We appreciate you guys listening to us. It's not our normal thing, but, there's been a lot on our hearts. And we thank you guys for kind of listening to that. We're just going to take a quick break. We'll be right back on the other side. You know what goes great with small town stories?
Original Glory, America's beer right here.
I've been drinking this every songwriting session today.
Man, that clean, crisp taste reminds me of summer nights on the back porch after a fresh mowed lawn.
And they're just not making great beer. They're investing in America's small towns.
Well, it's just like us. They believe in bringing communities together.
Not only do they invest in communities, but a portion of each sale goes to the veterans and the first responders and all the heroes that protect us.
For a limited time, you can become a member of the OG fam and invest in this beer at wefunder.com/original brands.
Join our Original Glory family and help ignite that Original Glory spirit.
My name is Glenn Story. I'm the founder and CEO of Patriot Mobile. And then we have 4 principles. First Amendment, Second Amendment, right to life, military and first responders. If you have a place to go put your money, you always want to put it with somebody that's like-minded. Of course. I think that's the beauty of Patriot Mobile. We're a conservative alternative.
Don't get fooled by other providers pretending to share your values or have the same coverage. Go to patriotmobile.com/smalltown to get a free month of service when you use the offer code SMALLTOWN or call 972-PATRIOT.
All right, welcome back to the Try That in a Small Town podcast from the Patriot Mobile Studios, powered by eSpaces, and of course we want to thank Original Glory Beer as well. We always say we should record our break. Usually it's about 5 minutes and we're just talking about whatever, and it can usually be funny or whatever. But this time our break was probably 30 minutes and we kept talking and we were reflecting on Brett. But you started to tell the story, but when we said, let's save it. So you had a story that you wanted to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I mean, like a lot of Brett's friends, I've been in his plane before. He loved to fly, and for me, I've just never been like my dad never liked, single engine planes. I've just never really liked them. I don't love flying, altogether, but you got to, so we do it and stuff. And so he had actually contacted me before. Me and him and Rivers Rutherford had a show in Charlotte, and Brett had asked me, said, hey, Kayla, why don't you just fly with me? I said, I'm going up there, and I didn't. It was a text, and I thought, how do I respond to that, because I really didn't want to, but I didn't want to hurt his feelings, and so finally I texted him back and I said, hey Brett, I said, here's the thing. I said, I'm sure you're fully capable. I know you're a smart dude and I know you love flying and everything, but I don't want my anxiety to ruin your flying experience, so it's something like that to make it sound as loving as possible. He says, no problem. So anyway, so I flew Southwest, and then we did that, and then we did a show, then we played golf the next day, and the clients had kept, if I know I'm late everywhere, except the one place I like to get to on time, even early, is the airport.
Wow.
So I do like to get there really, really early.
Think of us as the airport next
I thought you were going to say
That's a good idea. Yeah. That's a good idea. I could
Terminal 1.
Yeah, Terminal 1. Try that in a small town podcast. But anyway, so I'd been telling them, I said, hey, I kind of need to bolt. I'm flying in a couple hours. And they're like, oh, you can get there in 10 minutes. We're 10 minutes from the airport. And as they kept dragging it on, and they were eating lunch or having beers and stuff, and I was getting stressed out, and I was like, I mean, no way we're going to have time to get to that. And then sure enough, by the time they had a car, come get us, it was, I was looking at it and I was thinking there's no way. And Rivers, he was going somewhere else, but Brett and I were both going back to Nashville, and Brett had his plane. And I said, yeah, I don't think I'm going to make it. And then Brett just looks over at me and says, looks like it's you and me, boss. And I said, yeah. I said, it does. And so there was like a Quick Mart or Circle K or something. And I asked the driver, I said, hey, can you pull over that little service station there? And he goes, yep. I went in there and I got a 12-pack of Miller Lite, and he said, you ready? I said, I think so. I said, so we got there, and part of it was it's kind of cool. I mean, it was a very nice plane and everything, but we got in there. It's really, really, really small, but I got my 12-pack in there. Not that I was planning on down in
Oh,
the
of
whole
course, of course.
the whole 12, but I got a good lick on it. But anyway, so I made it kind of a party, a little bit. But I'll say when he was up there and flying that plane, one, I get it. I got it once I was up there, because you're flying lower, so you get to see everything. It's like 10 to 15,000 feet, and we're flying over the Smokies. It's really beautiful, and the whole experience was great. And he loved it, and he kind of put me at peace, just because he was good at what he enjoyed doing, and he loved doing it. He loved doing it, and and a lot of people will say and have commented, well, hey, you shouldn't be flying those planes, or whatever, but that's the thing. He loved doing it. Mm-hmm. He likes riding Harleys and flying planes. So do thousands of other people. It's just his joy, and he just loved doing it. And so I'm actually so glad I had that experience with him, because it was just funny. And he was
That's a great.
He lived.
story.
He was always taking trips or going skiing, or we talk about it every year. Like, he was always doing some crazy ski trip somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he lived.
He lived.
He really did.
He lived.
And
That's
if anybody
exactly
needs to know anything about Brett, at the end of the day, he was a believer.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's any piece to his passing, is that we all know that about him, that he was a believer. And there's a lot of peace in knowing with that guy.
For sure.
Yeah.
He actually went to the same church I go to, and my mom and brother, Rolling Hills, which is just down the road in Franklin, Columbia. And I wouldn't go to church with him. I would see him, because he, believe it or not, I go to the late service, and he went to the early service. But I'd pass him every now and then coming out of there. And Jeff Simmons, the preacher, is actually one of his super close friends, and they went to college together, and I think Boston College. And but anyway, they were very tight, and I know they talked about all things biblical and Christ and theology and all that stuff. So I know he's a believer too, and you can tell just by the way he carried himself.
Yeah.
Dude had major peace, just all the time. He never seemed stressed out about anything. And but yeah, you're right. That is something you can rest in for sure.
I hope Tully had mentioned this before. It's like sometimes, most of the times, you take people for granted, and we're talking about them now as opposed to last week. Why didn't I reach out and just hug the guy or say, hey, man, I'm thinking about you. I love you. And you try to take moments like this and really take that to heart and reach out to the people you love, and don't take them for granted, even though it's human nature and that is what you do. But I hope this is a reminder for us as we go. And I love you guys. I'm not just saying that. I absolutely love you guys.
Yeah, we've said since then, even on our text threads, there's been a lot more. Hey, love you guys. Look forward to seeing you guys.
I know it.
Well,
love y'all.
Some things hit. This one hits different. Almost like a little bit of kick in the ass for myself to be more conscious of that. Where it's like, we don't get this. We're not always going to be here.
Life is fragile.
And to think that is that, something like this happens with Brett, it's like, man, that's really a lesson this time to learn from.
I hope so. Yeah. I hope we challenge each other to make it a lesson.
I know I've got to be better at, because I think it a lot, but it's like, man, I keep saying, God, I should have made the time to go skiing. I should have should have, instead of talking about it, try to actually do more of the stuff with the people that you love, instead of thinking about it, actually doing it, and thinking about it, and it's too late.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and for me, and maybe for a lot of people, over the last few years, I've had a couple relationships go sideways, neither of which were my fault.
Of course.
At all. However, it does make me...
I can verify that.
It does make me want to go and just at least talk to them. And you don't have to be on the same level of friends where you were, but just to kind of... Because I'm fine, but
I've been trying to get
just to kind of clear up some things, or if there's something that maybe it says, but you said this or whatever. I didn't know that, and just have a chance to clear the air while you're here, and you know. So
Do you think he'll do that?
I think it will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
will.
think at the end of the day, Kayla's going to be the only one with the humility, with the courage to admit anything.
And that's okay, though.
There's not a lot. He'll be the only one in the
And
conversation.
that's fine, though, because at least he'll get to.
Absolutely.
Know
He'll
that-
get. That's
yeah.
right. It's a peace of mind for him.
You can't
that
control that.
I made the attempt.
Yeah, at least you tried.
Yes.
You know.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And
Oh.
everybody needs to remember. I wanted to say this a while ago. Everybody needs to. You need to keep all these people. Charlie Kirk's family, Brett James' family. Keep them.
Yeah,
in
Davey,
your
for
prayers.
sure.
All you prayer warriors out there. I hope we have a lot of prayer warrior listeners.
That's a good point, Neil.
And pray for those people. Pray for the ones who
Yeah.
are still here, because they're in a better place. The ones who have gone on are in a better place, and they're probably feeling sorry for us right now.
Yeah.
Keep their families in your prayers.
That's such a good point. You know, it's human nature also, and the world and the news. It's like something else is going to happen next week, and we'll be like, "Oh my gosh, did you hear about this? Oh my gosh, did you hear about this?"
And what's next?
And sometimes you forget about these moments and continuing to do that because they're still going to be going through that, those families.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And, you know, it's going to be a while, if not the rest of their lives. That's something that they have to
You
come
don't
to
get
grips-
over it. You just
Yeah.
get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy. It did make me think, though. There was a to on your point, Kayla, about kind of maybe catching up with people that then apart from, for whatever reason, you know, I won't go into names either, but like a writer that used to write for Brett that we worked with kind of gave me and Kurt the shaft, you know, a few years ago, and a couple little things. And looking back on it, it's like we were pretty close to this person. It's like I actually thought a couple days ago, I'm like, I'm going to reach back out and just try to pick up maybe where we all left off, because it's like it's life's too short to like.
That's right.
It's not, nothing's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
In the grand scheme of
like
No,
in the
it's
grand
not.
scheme
You're
of
right.
things, like what is really matters and what's a big deal? Certainly not what we were upset about, or I was upset about, or you know what I'm saying, all right? You know, so what are we doing really?
I know.
Because what happened, what his family's going through, that's a big deal. What we're talking about doing is just reconnecting and trying to.
If you're
that's not a
if
big
you're a
deal.
true believer in forgiveness, you listen to what Erica Kirk said.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
You know, she forgave the killer,
Yeah.
the assassin of her husband. If you're a true believer in forgiveness, be the one to make the first call. Be the one to reach out, like you were just talking about, like you're talking about.
That's the thing. Right? That's probably a good lesson here, is to like
Take the high road, make the first call.
You know, just being estranged from someone you worked with and had success with, for what reason? Because of a little bit of money, or a little bit of notoriety, or a little bit of whatever.
Yeah.
Isn't in the scheme of things.
There's a lot of ego in this town.
Yeah. You're right.
Dude,
You're right.
There's a lot of ego in this
there's a
town.
lot. There's a lot of ego at this table.
I was about to say the exact same thing.
Why did you say that?
No, but that's.
I mean, there is but it's navigating that in this town, which is tough, because there is so
Were you
much
talking
of
about
it.
yourself?
No, I at the table, not this seat. Hey,
This side of the. Which side, Tully? Which?
I don't know, but I mean, you can get caught up in it, and it's
Oh, it's so easy.
It's so easy.
That's
and
the
it's-
human side of us.
Yeah, it's competitive, and there's ego, but man, at what cost? You know, because you end up, you know, like falling out with people that really it's not worth it. You know?
Yeah, and at some point, you know, for everybody, you know, regardless of where you are in the industry or what your age is, at some point in time, the business will be over. Whatever business you're in,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and so, you know, who you going to hang out with? You know, is it just going to be the people that you made money with? Is that why you're with them? Is that why they're with you? So start thinking about those things earlier in life. You know?
You better like your spouse.
You know, yeah, that helps.
You better like your spouse.
That helps. And then also too, and I think Tully or Kurt one was talking about this on the break, is like for the people that are just kind of just mean people, or just saying mean things, whether it's Charlie Kirk or about Brett James, and it's really amazing. And we can get on a positive thing. I don't want to end on a negative, but if you don't like somebody, just don't say anything. You know, on social media, it's
a freaking. I'm ready for it to just.
We have to have it. We have to have it, and I don't want it.
It's such a dark place. it can be a great place.
Yeah.
It has its moments where it's like, okay, this is good. This might be positive even. Well, over the Charlie stuff and it's really exposed some truly dark things, dark people.
Which can be a good thing.
You can see some really hideous comments about Brett if you look, which is...
No, absolutely
disgusting to me.
And he's the least political guy of anyone, and they still find something derogatory or hateful to say about his passing.
It's terrible, and I don't know. I like to think that those people, since the Charlie thing, and especially, and then what we're seeing some comments about, but I don't look too hard because it infuriates me. But I'd like to think that those people have put themselves on a little island, because how can you be that hateful? Whether you're Charlie, for instance, whether you believe in everything he said, you don't have to agree with everything he said. That's healthy not to. Sometimes that's good. Have that debate with him. But to celebrate someone's assassination,
that's another level. That's a whole other realm.
It's another level of dark.
That's a whole other realm that we can't relate to. That's a whole other level of darkness that we can't relate to. I can't even comprehend
to find any kind of joy or positive in that is.
I think about ourselves on, we're conservative guys, and if someone on the left, and we talked about this, was assassinated or whatever, I can't even fathom feeling joy over that, because it's not in me. It's not written on my heart to feel that. Thank God it's not.
Yeah.
And so it's a whole nother realm that I can't even relate to. And
am I wrong in thinking this? And I'm sure maybe people disagree, but it feels like a lot of people are so anti-God and religion. That's how they can do it. They don't have.
Well, yeah,
they're not with God, so it's easy to be so dark and say these crazy things. There's no one to keep them in check. It's weird to me. Like, I don't understand.
You can't. They've already given their souls over, so you can't even keep them in check. You can't tell them why. You can't ask them, why are you doing this? You need to stop doing that. They don't even hear that. That doesn't even ring.
Is it a cavernous thing in the chest they have? Like, is there any
once you give yourself over to that, then it just gets deeper and darker and deeper and darker with that person. Once you've surrendered your soul to the devil, that's what happens.
You've been saying this. I wanted to tell you this. I'm glad you just mentioned that, because when you started this podcast over a year ago.
Oh yeah,
right. You said from the beginning we were in a spiritual battle.
Absolutely.
Which, when you first started saying that, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know. Are we in a spiritual battle? I didn't know if that was what we were in, a battle. I was trying to make that make sense to me, which I don't disagree. But since Charlie's thing, I told Kurt, I said, Neil's right. Neil's been right. Like, this is exactly what we're in. It exposed that very clearly to me, that it is a spiritual battle that we're in. Like, because I don't like to think about, I have a hard time thinking people don't believe in God. I'm naive in that way. I'm like, well, surely they do, and they just don't want to say it.
No, there's
what I mean?
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
But I'm naive in that way, where I'm like how many people? It feels like, oh, surely can't be that many people that don't. But then after Charlie's thing, it drew like a line, and well, if you can celebrate this, Well, you don't. This is a spiritual. Neil's right. We're in a spiritual war.
Yeah, at a minimum, if you're celebrating somebody's death, you are not a believer in God, and you do not have Christ or love in your heart.
And it's not even just a I mean, yes, there are people that are whatever celebrating, but there's a lot of people that we all know and that I know that would say, "Oh, that's a bad thing." But he did say some divisive things.
but he had
like
right.
that.
That's the same thing to me.
Shocking.
Yeah.
I just don't get that.
And you're like, I found out, I saw some people that I had no idea. I was like, that posted some things. I'm like, you're kidding me. That
They
guy
say,
said-
I'm not celebrating it, but
he had it
did.
coming.
Right. That's how they say it.
Right.
I feel sorry for his family, but if you're going to say stuff like that, then you got to, it's like, well, wait a minute. To me, you're just sugarcoating what you're really feeling, which is
Yeah.
you don't feel bad. Because I tell you right now, and I mean this, like if someone that I don't agree with politically on the left, I don't care how radical they are, if they would have been assassinated,
Yeah.
I'd feel just like I do now, like, oh my God,
Well,
this
you
is
think about this.
100%.
Think about this.
this
Think-
is just
100%.
this is terrible.
Think about this. It's one thing to feel it and to not feel bad for it. It's another thing to post it.
Yeah.
It's one thing for them on their own to go, man, I'm glad that dude's gone. It's another thing to post it, to let everybody know how dark you are. That's a whole different level. Because I think if it even crossed your mind that some people, if they were with us, they would think it, but they would never dream of telling anybody that they
Right.
thought it.
Yeah.
It's another thing to post it.
You've been
and
right.
Let everybody know.
You have been right this whole
Jesus
time.
didn't come here to unite.
Yeah.
He came here to divide.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to separate the believers from the non-believers.
Wanted to
That's
seek and
what
save the
he's-
lost. He wants everyone.
Yes, but it's not a
know.
united thing. He doesn't. It's there is a divide going on, and that's exactly what is supposed to be happening spiritually. Everything that's happening right now is by design, and it's supposed. The fence riders better fall on the side that they need to fall on, because it's the divide's happening, and if you fall off that fence, it's going to be too late, and you're going to go down in the crevice. So,
Yeah.
But yesterday at the service, I don't know the number, over 100,000
Mm-hmm.
at the service. I think I'm
yeah.
something like that. But I heard there was hardly anybody protesting, like 10 people outside protesting.
they look like
which,
morons.
Yeah.
which tells me that God is winning, because like
Absolutely.
if that's all you can muster, 10 crazy people with purple hair who have no idea what they're talking about anyway. I think they're really just sick.
One of the beauties of that service yesterday was that ABC had to show it, NBC
Yeah.
had to show it, CNN had to show it, and all day they're talking about God, Jesus Christ, faith, family, love, and that message was going out to hundreds of millions of people.
Aldean's been saying, but it's and he's at its most basic form. Our country, we've founded. This is with our whole
Christian beliefs.
Like, I don't know when did it get like this? Where I need someone to tell me. Like, I'm asking. I didn't feel this kind of divide that long. I didn't feel it till really.
You know what fuels more hate on the left than anything? Not everybody on the left, but most of the left. What fuels hate on the left is the fact that we don't hate them. They hate the fact that we don't hate them back. They're not hated back, and they hate that. They hate us even more for that.
Well, they're very angry
That's a good point.
because when they get upset, they just torch the city.
Well, you can do the contrast. I mean,
I'm just
see
saying
what happened. You're right.
And then
How many
something
riots have we
happens.
had?
I mean,
Yeah.
it was pretty inspiring.
How many
see
stores
that-
have we
to see-
looted?
to
How many
see that
police cars have we
yesterday
burned?
No, just
Everybody,
prayers.
everybody in
None.
prayer yesterday, and so it is different how we handle things, and there's just you can't argue with that, But I still find it amazing that an AOC can go up there and talk and somehow defend Charlie's assassination. Like I'm like.
I didn't see it, and I'm glad.
Well, I don't.
see
Yeah,
it.
and what she's just disagreeing with the things that he says. It said they're just blatant lies, and that he was telling people.
But she's calling him basically a
Yeah.
racist, which he was not.
yes,
Which is again them trying to turn the media into making Charlie something he wasn't. He was the opposite of that.
They're not. They don't spin things. They're literally lying about things now, and they don't care.
Well, and AOC is the perfect example. Sorry, I had to cut you off. The perfect example of someone that I listen to her and I'm watch her and I'm like, God, you're a terrible person.
She's not very. She's not very nice.
But I don't want anything bad to happen to her physically.
That's what I mean.
I know it.
I just like, how do you get there?
I'd be this.
But I don't want her to die.
You don't hate them.
I don't want her to die.
It's like the guy that wants to fight the other dude, and the other dude's like, "No, dude, I'm not." He's like, "Come on, let's go."
I know.
And he won't get into it. He gets more pissed because the dude won't fight. That's the left.
No, I just.
They're so pissed that we love them.
Yeah, but I don't want her to die. I just want her to get married to somebody and make that guy miserable for the rest of his life.
I burn our shit down.
I swear to God, I've actually used her as an example to somebody the last couple of days. I said if something would have happened to her, I'd be just as mad.
Of course,
and hurt.
absolutely.
I swear to God, it does nothing to do with your political beliefs. It's just like
I love you, AOC. I love you.
We love you, AOC.
I love you, AOC.
I mean, there's no way. I tell you this. There's no way in real life she's just grumpy.
No.
Because you can't be.
I don't know.
You can't. How do you? How
What
do you get up in the
what
morning?
about Crockett? I mean that girl. Good grief.
God bless
Oh,
her.
give me Jasmine Crockett is a freaking demon.
She is not.
She's a lying ass demon.
She would be hard to love. Hard to love.
I'm so sorry. That's a fact, though. But I love you, Jasmine.
But nothing bad
I love
happened.
you. Can I call you JC?
Yeah, but anyway, we don't want anything bad to happen.
No,
to
of
No,
her.
course
we
not.
don't.
That's
Of
the
course
whole point.
not.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying, though.
Of course not, because your heart's in the right place, dude. You don't have
Yeah.
a dark soul. You don't. I don't wish anything bad like that on anybody.
Nope.
That's
And
what
they hate that you feel that way about them. They
I know.
hate it.
I know.
Just pray for them. That's all I'm doing.
AOC's very
That's all
good.
I'm doing.
she's very grumpy. I mean, she used to be a waitress, right? What
I
a
have
terrible
no
service. I bet she
idea.
gave terrible service.
Well, I'd hate to be in her section.
Oh my God! I know. What do you want?
You know how much food she spit in?
You only have tofu.
Oh, I guarantee you she'd be one of those waitresses that she'd come and say, "Do you want some more tea?" And she'd grab the top of my glass with all 5 of her fingers and touch it and then set it back down.
Hey, I'm going to go completely off subject because that reminded me of something. We were at catering the other day, and somebody was introducing me to another person. We're all eating, and they said, "This is such and such," and they reached out their hand, and I was like,
Who did that to you?
"No names." But
They obviously don't
Really?
know you
Seriously?
at all.
they don't know me, and I was like, "Oh, I had a I'm not even a
Yeah, Kalo
germaphobe.
moment.
I'm not even a germaphobe."
You thought
but
about me, didn't you?
I did.
Just for a moment.
But to be fair though, that's one of your things though. Since
It
I've
should
known
be
you,
anybody's thing. I'm
Yeah.
eating with this hand.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd rather hug.
You
I'd rather hug.
never shake hands at lunch, dinner, or breakfast. Just say, "Hey, I know you're eating. I just want to say hey real quick."
I'd shake
That's all you got
hands.
to do. You know,
Do you shake hands with a firm handshake?
fairly. I
hope
mean,
so.
a common handshake, I guess.
Y'all ever shake hands with guys that are just like it's like a dead fish?
well, it's,
I have. Yeah, there's only one
It's
guy.
the worst ever.
I can't
Yeah,
say his
It's
name
like
because he listens
immediate.
to the podcast.
It's immediate impression on
Indefensible.
somebody.
You can't do
You can't do it.
that. No.
You can't do it.
But the one guy I know that does that is incredibly successful, and I wonder how. Because all the big business meetings he has to go
like
to.
a dead fish.
I mean, yeah,
Limp noodle.
the deadest.
It's weird.
I can't do it.
It's amazing that he doesn't know. That
Does he have
nobody's ever told
nerve
him.
damage in that
Yeah.
hand? Is that why?
No,
Nope.
nope. I did
I'm glad
ask.
we could put
I
this.
asked if I said I've asked him before, and he said no.
Actually, the first thing when my son was like barely walking, I was like, firm handshake.
That's right. Amen. Good
That's
dad.
right.
I mean, seriously.
Good
seriously.
dad. Good
That
dad.
away.
And look him in the eye.
Oh,
And shake hands.
Good dad.
Thank you.
That's good. It's a good
Well,
lesson.
but seriously though,
you're
like,
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
One of my
you know,
first
it's-
lessons
it's-
for sure.
it's kind of got to happen. Otherwise, I mean,
It's a first
you
impression.
talked about in a podcast.
I wonder what AOC's handshake is like.
Probably firm.
Probably firm.
It's
it's
probably
firm?
very firm.
I'd say
like
firm
overly
and angry. You know, it's angry hand. Just gets like that.
Just pissed all the time. Just dark
Yeah.
pissed.
She's
Yeah.
but she was or is married or engaged, and I can't, or at least she was. I can't help but think to myself, God, what a miserable thing to wake up to every morning. Like, wake up pissed. Oh, good morning. What the? I just don't see her ever not being pissed. She just wakes up
Yeah,
pissed,
it's all you see. That's right.
has lunch pissed, goes to bed pissed, rinse and repeat. She's angry all the time. And the only time she's smiling is when she's doing that evil woman smile, when they're really mad, but they're smiling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not all women, but
God, man, all
But you know what I'm talking
women
about.
like
I
her,
do.
all women please go pursue a God-fearing conservative man, please.
Have babies.
Just go. Just before you have babies, get to know them.
Yeah.
Date one and see what a real man's like.
Yeah.
that'd be a great
Love
like
it.
reality show. AOC goes conservative, and she has to live with a conservative
dating
man for like a
game.
month.
Yeah, what a great show that would
It'd be an amazing show.
Oh,
That'd be good. We go back to your duel idea. Be good to have some duels, you know.
I still like the idea of
You
the
know?
duel.
It's not a bad idea. We're not done discussing
they've never
it.
been treated like women though. They've never. I mean,
Well,
that's
because they
part of-
reverse the roles.
Yeah.
Whoever she's with
You're right.
is the woman.
I'm sure she drives everywhere.
Yeah, whoever
He sits over there
I've seen the
slumped
guy,
over.
and
Yeah.
and
It's
he's
a
definitely
Prius,
the woman.
probably.
Oh, he
Prius.
sits in the passenger seat and shuts
Yeah,
up. doesn't
yeah,
say
she
a word.
does.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's the woman.
Yeah.
I've seen him. He's the woman.
yeah.
They reverse the roles.
You got one nut.
Yeah.
I get it.
Well,
I've seen them. They're everywhere. You can
So-
tell. And he's probably got a mask on too, in the passenger seat.
They kiss with the mask on.
So since we're talking about all the people that are angry and everything like that, do you think that Luke Bryan is right when he says most people are good? Is he right or
No.
wrong?
No.
Now, most, if
No.
you think about all the people on the whole planet,
Yeah, that was.
it's probably, I mean,
Are we going to go off here?
no,
Are we
I
gonna
just
get
wonder, like, are most people
Honestly,
inherently
I do
good?
think that most people.
Oh,
are good.
most people. Yeah, I think they. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think social
So you
media
got good.
and TV has it makes you think that there's a lot of people that are bad. There are some bad people, but because you can hide behind this and say stuff,
Yeah.
it.
I like to think
makes that
most
a little
people. I
louder.
like to think most people are good. I think when things happen, you can see that most people are good. I like to think that anyway. Like, if
Well,
something
after
happens.
the Charlie Kirk thing, I found out a lot of people that I thought were good were
but
not.
most are good.
Yeah,
I think
I will agree with
The
that.
really dark
I-
people,
I
they're
think
just very
so.
small percentage. Like they're just there's a light shining on them because they're so dark. You know what I mean? But it's not as many of. There's more of us though.
Yeah, I think,
Well,
I think
and
when you
they're
say
louder,
the
you
word
know?
good, I think our intent, most people's intentions are good. All of us were born with a wretched heart. All of us.
Yeah.
But I think most people's intentions are good.
Yeah, and we'll get some theologians. We have a lot of theologians that follow this podcast, and they're going to remind us that the Bible says that no one is good. We know that.
Well, that's
We're
what I just
talking
said.
About
I just
a
said
title
that.
of a song.
We're all born
I'm
with
not
a wretched
arguing with you.
heart.
I'm
We're
agreeing
all
with you.
born sinners, and we're wretched.
I am agreeing and
wretched
affirming you.
sinners.
I am affirming you.
I will admit that. I will shout it from the mountaintop.
But it's true.
We are all horrible people who are trying to get better.
Okay, I think that's good. I think that's good. It was a fun episode. I mean,
We had to talk about.
we had
this
to
stuff,
talk
though.
about it, and honestly, we haven't. The four of us sat down and talked about Charlie a lot either. And then, of
Yeah.
course, with the Brett news, we have been on text, but this is the first time we've been in a room.
Yeah.
So we
It was good
appreciate
to
everybody
reflect.
listening
It was
and
so
kind of hearing our stories and our thoughts and our feelings.
Well, and I think as Barney Fife would say, it's therapeutic. To talk
that what he
about
said?
this. Yeah. He
So
said,
good.
Andy, it's therapeutic.
Okay.
But it is good to talk because I came here knowing what we were going to talk about, and I was not a little down, but I wasn't looking forward to the topic. But then we get to talking about Brett and Charlie and all the positive things, then I actually feel better talking about it than not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Brett thing will. I know it has me. Will make people. At least I hope it does. Like really try harder. I know for me personally, like I've taken that from it. Like that hit us like a ton of bricks out there.
Yeah.
Finding this out, and it's like
one of our own.
that could be any of us. You
It
know
could
what I
be.
mean? And
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Love
I
everybody.
love AOC.
We love AOC.
I do.
It bugs her.
I love you
She didn't
too.
even know
AOC,
it.
will you come on the podcast? Actually, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, sure it would.
I'm
We
just
can
going to
zoom
tell her
in.
I love her all night, no matter what she says.
She can disagree. I just want to. I mean, I want to get a smile out of her. I don't know if it's ever been done, but we could have a contest.
I love you, AOC.
All right. We appreciate you guys for listening. Make sure you download the episode. Leave us a comment. Let us know how you're feeling or maybe how it affected you. Hey, Jim, hopefully maybe we can put some clips of Brett in this episode. That would be cool,
Yeah.
right? And have some stuff for maybe the people that didn't see him to get a little glimpse of what he did.
We got some pictures, J-Lo,
truly
of us
amazing.
playing
We
with
got
him and
some
doing a show and
songs.
stuff.
Also want to thank Patriot Mobile, eSpaces, Original Glory Beer. I love you.
I love you.
Love you.
I love you.
We love you guys. Thanks for listening to us.